Hey there, Griff Hamlin here from Blues Guitar Unleashed. Welcome. Thanks for joining me in today's video. We're going to talk about a major blues lick, similar to what we did in the previous video. I kind of described for you what I mean by a major blues lick and how with using licks from the major blues sound, we typically tend to bring in a note or two from the minor blues sound. And that's one of the things that I think makes the use of major blues scales a little bit more challenging. When we play the minor blues scale, we just tend to, do our thing and that's it. We don't have to think about, okay, well, are we coming from this note, are we coming from this note? Or you can kind of just throw some notes out there. Now, I'm not a fan of that. Okay, I don't believe that you should just throw some notes out there. And if your soloing isn't sounding like what you're digging, that's probably because you're not sort of thinking about your licks ahead of time. And so when the major blues scale starts to come into play, it sort of shines a light on a weakness in a lot of people's playing, which is that they don't really think, okay, I'm going to play this lick and then play that lick. They tend to just sort of throw some notes out there and they don't really sound like what they want. And they go, okay, well, that one didn't work. But there's really no pre-thought, okay? If I can get you to sort of think about, okay, I'm going to play this lick and hear it in your mind and then play it, and that can happen very quickly. The better you get at this, the quicker that happens. It can be almost instant. At first, it's not going to be. You're going to have to really, really stop and concentrate, which leaves a lot of dead air. And again, that's something that a lot of beginning soloists tend to shy away from. But as I mentioned in the last video, if you memorize these licks, if you really get them under your fingers and you get to where you can hear them and echo them back, this is a thing called trading. It's something I use a lot. I have a course called 50 Major Slow Blues Licks by the Box. There's also 50 Slow Blues Licks by the Box, which is all minor licks. And in all of those cases, I'm a firm believer that it's very important to hear the lick and then be able to echo it back. And that improves that ear-hand connection that is so important when it comes to actually improvising. And again, it's one of those things that's often overlooked. It's not talked about. It may not be sexy, but it's good, right? But it's a little bit more challenging. So a lot of times it gets overlooked or abandoned. It's just not used. I think a lot of people don't think about the fact that you have to connect what you hear. I call it in your mind's ear. We talk about the mind's eye. Well, you have a mind's ear as well, and it has an ability to imagine what a lick is going to sound like and tell the fingers, this is what I want you to play. And if we can get that working, and it works both ways, hearing something, being able to play it, or hearing something up here, being able to play it, that's a big part of improvisation. But I'll get off my soapbox for the moment. We talked about, we had a lick in the last lesson, and we learned that lick, and then I moved it to the key of D, and I said, that's probably not how I would want to do it in the real world. How I would want to do it in the real world is I would want to have a lick that stays in the same general vicinity, right? So when I played over my A7 chord, I played something like that. Well, I don't want to go way the heck up here to play in the key of D. How about I play in something down here? The D major blues scale down here is box 5. Now, you may not know that, but you know it now. It actually is pretty easy to find because if you think of a D7 chord, like that, right? My D there on the 5th string root, that's box 5. And I tell you what, if you learn a lick or two based around, thinking of that chord and that box, you're never going to forget it. That's just the way it works. You only got to figure it out once. Because if I move it to like E, well, it doesn't change the box. If I move it to G, it doesn't change the box, right? So you only got to figure this out once. So this lick, 1, 2, goes like that. It's going to start on the root, 7th fret on the 3rd string, 1 and And then I'm going to do a little slide into the major 3rd. Now you saw this in the last video. I never just play the major 3rd. It's never going to happen. When I'm playing the major sound, I almost always, I'd say 99.5% of the time, either slide up or play the flat third before the major third. I call this bluesifying the third. You don't necessarily always do it like in country or in pop, but you will pretty much always do it in blues. Okay, so that's root, third, fifth, flat seventh. I'm literally playing a D7 chord. Then, and that's 1 and 2 and And again, I'm going to count it. Please count it out loud. Please do it. I won't get on my soapbox yet again, but please do. It really makes all the difference. 1 and 2 and What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 7th fret on the first string, which is the 6th of the scale. I'm going to bend it up a half step so that it sounds like the 7. And that's going to be 1 and 2 and 3 and I'll release it. And then 4 and I'm going to hit the 5th fret on the first string is the 5th also of the 5th of the scale. And I'm going to hit the flatted third but push it up a half step. Okay, so far 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then I'm going to do that same move 2 more times. 1 and 2 and 3 and. Now, when I get to beat 3, I'm going to hit that flatted third and then I'm going to jump right down to the root. You're going to hear me do what I call the blues squeeze. I'm not going to play that flatted third and just leave it alone. I'm going to squeeze it sharp just a little bit. Not enough to get it a half step, probably not even a quarter step, but enough to give the illusion that I'm going towards the major third even though I'm not. Instead of, that just sounds dark and dreary. Very subtle, but it really makes a big difference. So if we put this whole thing together, again, count it out loud, play it slow. You can rewatch this as many times as you want. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Again, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and a little more up to speed. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1. All right, so that is a very nice, again, major based lick. But notice that we do still pull notes from the minor. The flatted 7. The flatted third. Okay, so I'm still pulling in some notes from the minor blues sound. Again, you almost never use the major blues sound exclusively by itself. And it's too hard to keep track of, when we bounce back and forth all the time like that, it's very, very difficult to keep track of that. When I play these long licks, right, stuff like that, I know, I've played that 1,000 times. I'm not making that up as I go along. Right? It's just like, that would be impossible, right? You have to get the stuff memorized, get it in your head. It just flows out. When you decide you want that, it flows out. You've played it a bunch of times before. You've played it over different jam tracks. You've played it in different keys. That's how this stuff really becomes part of your vocabulary. So let's do something. You may remember I put into my looper last time 2 bars of A7, 2 bars of D7. Let's go through our 2 licks. We're going to play the A7 lick over the A7 that we did yesterday, or last time if it wasn't yesterday. And we're going to do the D7 lick that we just learned. Check it out. 1, 2, 3, 4. right? Not bad, not bad at all, right? So now you have one that goes good over the A7, you have one that goes good over the D7. Now, obviously in a real blues, the first 4 bars are going to be the A7. So I might just have to play that lick twice. But let me play over the slow blues in a jam track. What I'll do is I will play the A lick twice, because I have 4 bars up front. I'll play the D lick. I'll go back to the A lick over the next 2 bars, and you'll notice that all we have left is the 5 chord. Check it out. All right, so it's going to come in from the 5 chord. Give us a little time. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, and 4, and 1, and 2. There's the D, 1, and back to the A. And aside from the fact that I played it slightly wrong over the last one there, you get the general idea. I just mistakenly got ahead of myself, but it's the same. I played the same stuff, just in a slightly different time. In any event, you get the idea. It works, right? I can play that A lick anytime the A chord comes around. I can play that D lick anytime the D lick comes around. Now, of course, right? I can move these licks. So what if I wanted that lick, but I wanted it in A? Again, my fingers don't care where I put them. Okay, so please make sure that you should be able to just close your eyes and look away and play the lick. It's not going to change. I promise. If you hit a wrong note, you're gonna know it. Okay, your ear will tell you. Learn to trust your ear. If you hear something that's just really sounds out of whack, okay, look down and see what's going on. But try and get comfortable with this idea that you don't have to look. Your fingers will do, what they're supposed to do. And again, memorize the lick. You got to be able to use it. If you have to do all these mental gymnastics, if you have to put all this stuff together, it's never going to happen when you're soloing. This is one of the biggest mistakes that I made growing up. I would learn that something was possible, and I would think, oh, that's cool. I'll be able to do it when I solo. No, you can't. You just can't come up with it that quickly. There's too much other stuff going on. You have to have some licks. You have to have some solos. You have to have the stuff under your belt already. Then you can use it when it comes time to play it over a jam track or at an open jam or with a band or wherever, whatever situation happens to pop up. If you don't have it right there at the tip of your fingers or the tip of your tongue, as I almost wanted to say, it's just not going to work out. You're not going to have it available to you. So I'm going to go ahead and end this video and now let you play around with this lick, hopefully get it memorized. But remember, count it right from the beginning. It makes all the difference. And I'll do one more video and we'll go ahead and do a lick for the 5 chord and then we'll just put them all together. It'll be really fun. All right, so join me for that. And as always, I'm Griff Hamlin from Blues Guitar Unleashed. And if you have guitar playing friends that you think would dig this video, I hope you'll share it with them. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.